This is definitely the most thrilling doomsday survival documentary of the year. The online rating is 98%, with numerous people praising it as the best immersive zombie apocalypse novel. It's the third day since the outbreak of the zombie apocalypse, and my home is being ravaged by zombies. A carefully crafted remote mountain doomsday shelter encountered a horde of zombies. A 3-meter-high reinforced concrete wall looks incredibly fragile in front of the endless hordes of zombies. Faced with the vicious zombies swarming towards me, I decided to sacrifice myself to protect my family behind me, and all of this started with a plan to discharge nuclear wastewater into the ocean. I am a junior research staff at the Ocean Monitoring Station. That day all the leaders at the Research Institute were quickly taken away by a helicopter, including my supervisor. He sent me a text before boarding the plane. It said to stock up on supplies and to stay away from crowds. The meaning behind these words is chilling. I immediately arranged for my wife to take our daughter and mother-in-law back to the family's farm. At the same time, I will inform my parents to contact the construction team to upgrade and reinforce the walls of the farm. Later, I rented a box truck and started madly stocking up on survival supplies. When I arrived in the mountains driving a truck loaded with supplies, the outer wall of the farm had already started to take shape. After carefully observing the terrain of the farm built against the mountain, my father decided to build another reinforced concrete wall inside the farm. We are digging a tunnel halfway up the mountain to reach deep inside the mountain. At the end of the tunnel, we are building a shelter. In case of the worst-case scenario, this shelter will be our last resort. While we rush to prepare for the upcoming doomsday, the world outside the mountains is undergoing devastating changes. As the mentor feared, the virus hidden deep in the ocean has finally broken out completely. Previously, the fishermen and drowning victims who mysteriously disappeared at sea appeared on the shoreline on a stormy night. Their bodies have started to show signs of decay, with no signs of life, yet they move heavily along the seaside, flowing into the city like a dark tide. At the same time, a deadly virus that had been spreading silently in the crowd erupted without warning, spreading overnight to major cities worldwide. People infected with the virus will stop breathing in a very short period of time and become medically classified as deceased. The tricky part is, their bodies didn't really die. The virus has taken over their brains, making them rise again with decaying bodies, and they will stop at nothing to seek fresh blood. The densely populated and unprepared large city suddenly became the main route for virus transmission. After countless waves of zombie invasions, the once bustling city turned into a living hell in an instant. I feel chilled when I look at all the news headlines and short videos, as if all of human civilization has come to the brink of collapse overnight. That night, I tried my best to warn the town below about the danger, informing them about the terrible epidemic in the city and advising residents to stock up on supplies and avoid going out as much as possible. Most young people from the town have gone out to work, leaving mostly the elderly and children behind. It takes 40 minutes to take a bus to the county from the town, so residents usually stay at home to farm and be self-sufficient. My father's farm is located deep in the mountains, and it takes half an hour to walk on a mountain road from the town, so our safety here is greatly improved. But that doesn't mean we can let our guard down while the zombie horde hasn't arrived yet. I need to improve the defense of the farm as much as possible. On the second day of the zombie outbreak, I risked leaving the farm to install surveillance cameras in various corners of the yard to keep an eye on any activity nearby. It is now drizzling in the mountains, with the rolling hills and the small town at the foot of the mountain shrouded in mist. I suddenly feel uneasy and cautiously observe my surroundings. Any slight noise makes me turn around as if facing a formidable enemy. At that moment, I realize that whether the zombie horde has truly arrived or not, it is no longer safe outside. When I got back to the farm, my wife told me that the TV signal had gone out an hour ago. Right now, there are messages for help all over the internet. Some people have even posted videos of zombies overwhelming survivors. My wife was watching various videos, her face turning pale. There were chilling screams and cries coming from her phone. I quickly grabbed the phone and turned off the screen, afraid that our daughter might see those images. The two of us stood in the pouring rain in silence for a long time, and finally embraced tightly. In this post-apocalyptic world, we can only survive by relying on each other. Next, my father and I welded shut the main gate of the outer wall and then sealed it completely with cement. From today on, this gate will never be opened again until the end of this apocalypse zombie wave. If we need to leave the shelter, there is a 3-meter-long ladder at home, which can be used to climb out. It's very difficult for someone outside to climb in because the outer wall is covered with broken glass and iron nails. This design might not stop painless zombies, but it can stop deceitful survivors. After all, in the apocalypse, human nature can be scarier than zombies sometimes. On the second day of the zombie outbreak, there were no signs of any abnormalities in the village at the foot of the mountain. Everything was quiet outside the livestock farm. Last night, the village head called my father and informed him that most of the young people who went out to work have lost contact. Only a few who could be reached are on their way back home. Currently, the railway system is fully under control, while the highways are in a state of semi-paralysis, with traffic jams on highways everywhere. Some people fleeing the area have given up their vehicles and are walking to their destinations with their belongings. The fleeing crowd is gradually mixed with zombies, and the congested highway turns into a slaughterhouse for survivors. Under the jammed traffic, people can't even escape separately. According to a viral video online, someone ignored all risks, stepped on the gas pedal, crashed through the congested vehicles in an attempt to escape, but after driving only a few hundred meters, they were dragged out of the driver's seat by a swarm of zombies and were left desperately struggling with just one arm. Watching people tearing each other apart in the video, I feel like the meat I had for lunch is churning in my stomach. I'm worried about those young people rushing back to their hometown. Will they really not bring the virus back to town? Just then, my father, with a grim expression, told me that we couldn't reach the village chief by phone, and the village at the foot of the mountain has lost contact. I suddenly felt my heart racing. Considering the worst-case scenario, there is a high likelihood that the village at the foot of the mountain has already been overrun by zombies. The speed of this outbreak is faster than we anticipated. In the worst-case scenario, we might be facing the zombie horde attack tonight. As soon as I thought of it, I hurriedly gathered the whole family inside the inner courtyard and told them not to go out unless absolutely necessary. My father and I took turns watching the surveillance room, keeping an eye on the surroundings at all times. At this moment, the rain in the mountains has become more urgent. Pouring rain is falling continuously, making it almost impossible for us to tell if there is any wildlife activity in the distance. I saw a skinny figure through the blurry rain, staggering at the end of the road. I held my breath and leaned closer to the screen to get a better look. As the figure got closer, my heart grew colder with each step. He can no longer be considered a human being. His body is severely decayed, and dark, sticky blood is flowing on the ground, creating a small black river as the rain washes it away. With every step he takes, 1 or 2 pieces of rotten flesh fall off his body, like a puppet about to lose its strings. No doubt about it, that's a zombie. The terrifying creature that we have seen countless times in movies and TV shows has finally appeared in real life. With its twisted legs, it is now roaring and getting ready to pounce on the nearest fresh blood. The day has finally come. I quickly grabbed a homemade spear from the corner and took a deep breath. Whatever you are, if you take one step forward today, it's either you die or I perish.